Welcome back. This is Newslink, but with the visuals you're seeing there are out in KwaNongoma at KwaKhangela Mankenya in Royal Palace. Of course, King MisiZulu is expected to enter the kraal. MisiZulu Kaswelithini, and today is the festivities. Different nations gathered here today, and I'm talking about nations not only within the borders of South Africa but outside in the greater African continent to witness this ceremony, to of course celebrate with MisiZulu, but also to form relations with him, to of course form kingship and friendship, and to pledge just their support of what they're seeing here today. We've seen the Amabutho singing, chanting, praising quite significant songs in loyalty to King MisiZulu, but also we've seen izintombi and other maidens dancing and jubilating and celebrating. So as we continue to give you those visuals, I'm still joined, of course, by Mabutho Ngobo out in studio right here in Johannesburg. We'll continue to have conversations just to further analyze and unpack the events that have both led to this moment in particular, but also moving forward, what the anticipation of the king is and what's expected of him moving forward. Mabutho, we're still talking about King MisiZulu, but another significant figure, I think, particularly since the passing of King Zwelithini, has been Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. What's the significance? What role exactly has he been playing since, and his important role to this day?
Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi is a very interesting figure in the history of AmaZulu, because he currently is the prime minister of a traditional prime minister of AmaZulu. So he's important in that way, but also his great grandfather on the maternal side is King Cetshwayo, because he's from the royal family, from the maternal side. I remember that matter was also raised in the court there, where the other faction was arguing that he's not part of the royal family because of his surname. But then the court said no, that is not the case, because the fact that his mother from the maternal side is from the royal family. By the way, he's a son of Umntwana uMagoko, Princess Makoko, who's a daughter of the late King Dinizulu, the son of Cetshwayo, the last king of independent Zulu before the colonialists took over. So he's also a significant figure. But also on the father side, his great-grandfather, Umnyamana Ganqekelele, was at some point a prime minister of the Zulu nation under King Cetshwayo. During that battle, Anglo-Zulu War at Isandlwana on the 22nd of January 1879, he was the prime minister there. I believe his son as well also participated, fought in that war, but I'm yet to be corrected on that one. So he's been there. He's been the prime minister of the AmaZulu nation from the grandfather of the current king, King Cyprian. He's also been the Prime Minister of AmaZulu nation under King Zwelithini Kabhekuzulu. He's also still the Prime Minister of AmaZulu, traditional Prime Minister of AmaZulu under the current king. So he's a long-serving Prime Minister of AmaZulu. I believe over 60 years now since he's been the Prime Minister of AmaZulu nation. So he's been there, but also he has played a significant role. There seems to be an agreement, if you look at social media comments, that if it was not for him, it would have been difficult for King MisiZulu to be where he is today because of these conflicts that are going on. So I think history on that side will be very kind on him. He will likely be defined as someone who made sure that during his last days, he made sure that he fight for this nation, for King MisiZulu, to continue leading this nation. So he's a very important figure, if I can answer your question in that way.
Yeah, and as we're talking about that, the Amabutho, they're continuing to sing and to chant. Let's just listen into what they're saying, and I suppose that's quite also significant, Mabutho, as you mentioned, because the songs do have meaning. They do have relevance to today. Those are the Amabutho out in KwaNongoma.
Amabutwa here is the Ntombi or Mama. The entire nation is here. Simply means this is blessed.
In fact, I know that you've covered royal affairs for a long time, but I'm sure you have never seen such a congregation of the Zulu people before. But I remember when one journalist asked me, I said that he must wait.
Shenge, how should the AmaZulu nation and the world worldwide feel about today? It's been more than 50 years since this has happened. Not
by the British and others, and apartheid era, that will still exist, and we still have a king on the throne. I mean, I think we should relish that as Zulu people. Yes. In fact, this morning the senior counsel, Advocate Matonsela, contacted me and told me that since these people are still going to court, that he has actually left his junior partner, Mr. Tony Palmer, in Marisburg at the High Court, to wait and see, what they at this court.
for those of us who are here.
Absolutely, 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 absolutely. It's wonderful. I mean, our unity is actually our strength. Unity is strength.
Thank you very much for time. We'll catch up with that is Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, mntwana wakaphinda ngene, the Prime Minister.
Apologies for the break in transmission. The important visuals we're seeing there, Mabuto, that's the traditional Prime Minister Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who just made his way, who's just arrived. The significance of this moment, I mean, decades later, he's here again. You were just saying that he has been with King Zwelithini before, now his son. Surely this should be a moment that he's proud of.
Of course, I mean, you could see him yesterday that he's really looking forward to this moment. You can tell that now that he has arrived, then chances are that now things are going to start. But we know it's Bantu time. We call it African time. We were told that things will start at 11, but we know that most of the time we just look at the sun. Okay, the sun, when it's still there, it's still fine. It doesn't matter whether it's 11, whether it's 12, but as long as there's still sun there, then things will go on. We can see the maidens there, they are enjoying themselves. Nobody is worried about the time, what's going to happen and stuff like that. These are Zulu maidens. It seems like they're coming somewhere from Ulundi. It looks like I can see here what they're carrying there. It's written Ulundi, which is about plus or minus 50 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken, to where they are at Gwanongoma. They seem to be enjoying themselves, things looking quite colorful and stuff like that.
So I mean, let's talk about also the anticipation and expectation of King Misuzulu once this ceremony has, been completed. Surely everybody that we see here is excited in expectation that once he's officially on the throne, we expect to see such and such changes. We expect to see, so forth, good progress amongst, the Zulu nation and community. In your analysis, so what do you think are some of the expectations of the Zulu people from him?
I don't think he will do much changes because based on his first speech, he said that he is not going to change much. He's going to continue where his father ended. So we can see the former Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala. He's a minister of Kokta at the moment. We can see he's greeting people. So I don't think there will be much changes from what his father did. But of course, every new king will have his own things. He might want to come up with something that he will be remembered with. I can see our camera is looking forward to former Premier of KZN, who's now the minister. It's entering there at
and just as we're speaking about the former Premier Sihle Zikalala, his appointment was quite interesting as Kokta minister. Remember that he was the Premier, as you mentioned, of course, when King Zwelithini passed away and King Misuzulu, according to the will that was read out, that he should be, of course, the heir to the throne to ascend. And it's quite interesting that Nomusa Dube-Ncube, a cabinet under her leadership, had decided that he should continue with this particular ministry, making sure that they strengthen relations with the Zulu royal family, at least from a government's perspective.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting indeed, as you correctly put it, because he was the Premier when the late King passed on. So he knows things in and out, because at some point he met with King Misuzulu shortly after the late King passed on, and now he is a Kokta minister in KZN. So it's a continuation. We can see him entering there at Gwakangela Mankengane. Probably he will be talking about some of the important issues there.
I'll have to pause you there, Mabuto. I'm understanding that we have to go back to Siphamandla Goge. Siphamandla, if you can hear me, colleague, going back to you from where you are in KwaNongoma, what do you see?
I am actually revived. There's ignition of who am I from the Royal House, over and above all, that I'm an African. This is an affirmation and an enrichment of the diversity of our continent. Not only South Africa and the continent at its large. We've seen kings from outside our country, from Malawi and other countries, confirming that Africans are one. They were divided by that Berlin Conference and many other concoctions that the imperialists did to keep us apart in delaying the development of Africa, from ensuring that it exploits its natural world. I'm very much excited.
There are those who are challenging the president's decision to recognize King Misuzulu. They want that decision overturned in court.
Well, in these situations, there's always going to be challenges, even where I come from. Where we're sitting, the president, having analyzed all processes, came to a view that this process actually should be allowed to go ahead. And we are here because we respect that decision. Because our president has always ensured that he is always on the side of the law.
Thank you very much for your time, Baba. Keep well. That is Minister in the Presidency, Mondli Gungubele, the highest office in the land here. The Presidency is represented here by Minister in the Presidency, Mondli Gungubele. Let's just turn and show you his Ntombi that are here. Oh, I also see here there are politicians that are around. I can tell you that I've spotted a gentleman by the name of Chris. That gentleman who's wearing a black shirt. If you see that gentleman, you must know that suspended ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule is around. So I assume that Ace Magashule, as the Secretary General of the ANC who is suspended, is inside or will be arriving any minute. When I see, let me ask this gentleman. How are you, Bob? Are you well? Where is the suspended Secretary General of the ANC? Is he here? When we see you, we see him.
I don't want to confirm or deny that is here.
Okay. Not confirming, not denying it, but every time you see that gentleman, you know that suspended ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule is here. Let's just play around with natural sound and give you as they are marching up and down the palace of Wakangela, Mankengane, as they are just okay, indeed. Let me see if we can get more guests here, those kings from Zambia and Malawi and Tanzania. We will be interviewing them and just trying to find out from them what it means to be here. Yeah, of course, they've got historical ties with AmaZulu. They are Zulus. So just look at this, you know, is Ntombi, the men dance singing and Abo Mama dancing. Let's take a listen to the children. Well, what we'll continue doing here is to give you these celebrations that are underway here, Wakangela Mankengane Royal Palace, as we hear Itilongo Lukala here, Ukala Wetilongo here, very significant, and also more and more government ministers are arriving here. I see Minister of Water and Sanitation, Senzo Mthunu, Macingwane Phakathi, siyakhuleka nina benkosi, niyaphila kodwa nonke.
Siyaphila ikhona imvushwana.
Ikhona imvushwana, usufikile uhulumeni, ngiyabona ongqongqoshe bakhona, AmaZulu akhona, kusho ukuthini kulokho esizweni samaZulu phakathi?
Cha usuku olukhulu lolu. Ngithina AmaZulu. Njengoba namhlanje kuzoqopheka umlando wokuthi liyaphumela
kunjalo seliphumile, and this is not only about AmaZulu, it's about AmaMpondo, AmaXhosa, it's about AmaNdebele, it's about AmaSwati, all Africans. This is about African unity and African togetherness. It's very significant, not only in South Africa but across the continent.
Usuku olubalekile mawuthinta lo mkhakha ukuthi isintu sonke ngokuhlukana kwaso nangokuhlangana kwaso ngamasiko, noma ngabe amaSwati, noma ngabe amaXhosa, noma ngabe abeSuthu, kodwa bese sihlangana sihlanganisa esiyikho
ebese sikwenza into eyodwa isintu sase-Afrika.
Siyathokoza kakhulu Macingwane. Thank you very much for your time. That is Minister Senzo Mkhunu of Water and Sanitation here as we stay with these arriving at the palace. It's a batch of them. They come in batches and they are doing song and dance here inside the palace as they wait for their king to arrive. He will go to the kraal. He will be, of course, dressed inside the kraal, and some of it will be private ceremony, but the bigger chunk of it and the bulk of it happened yesterday. So today is just symbolic and significant, but AmaZulu are here to witness their king entering the kraal. That was the salutation there. So we will be monitoring all those who will be arriving here. We expect more and more arrivals from dignitaries. I'm told that others are on the coming. Impi Yombango, Silbashaya. Listen to the song, Impi Yombango. It says a lot about what is happening at the royal family here, as we know that there is a dispute ongoing as we speak. Lamula Shenge, please intervene. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi Impi Yombango, as there is a dispute. They come in batches and all of them take their turns to come and salute at the palace, to come and salute their king. Let's give you more natural sound and singing from this new batch.
We're seeing, of course, Amabuto, some of them standing by, some, of course, coming in, singing. And Mabuto, as we continue to put the spotlight on Amabuto, I mean, they're known as the first line of defense for the king. Let's compare history with modern day. What we're seeing now, is it more ceremonial compared to how it really used to be back in the day, in the days of King Shaka, where they had to go to war with him, they had to be in training with him, they had to be his line of defense and protection? How would you compare the days of then compared to now?
Of course, I mean, we are living in the modern day democracy. It's more ceremonial in our days, but in the olden days, in fact, the king is the commander-in-chief. This is our Zulu army. So if there can be any war, the Amabuto will be the one who will be fighting in that war. And the commander-in-chief is the king. So they are very important, they play a very important role because all the time, as you can hear them singing songs, pledging loyalty to the king, they're also singing some of the war chants because during those olden days when they're going to war, the music or the chant that they will chant will also play an important role, even somebody who's scared to go to war, once you hear those chants, then you know that you have to prepare yourself.
Yeah.
We can hear Itilongo. Goge was talking about it. It also plays a very important role as well, because I was speaking to the other scholar. He was telling me that Itilongo, that trumpet that you see there on your television,
right,
it can be used to the sound, you can tell, some people can tell the sound that this is the sound of war. The way it sounds, it's calling for the Zulu army to come and prepare for war. But also, it can also, the sound can tell that no, this sound is for a ceremony like this one. So it also plays a significant role. But Itilongo started to be used, I believe, post the Anglo-Zulu War, because in the olden days, before the Anglo-Zulu War in 1879, they were using upondo, at the horn of the animal. So now they are using Itilongo that you can see there. And not everyone can blow that thing. I tried the other day.
Yeah.
I think it was meant to make sure that even a child does not play with the thing. You have to have energy. You have to you have to have the strength to blow the thing, because it's very significant. You cannot just blow it at any time, and it's not everyone. As you can see, probably this is the guy who can only blow it there, and he knows when he blows it like this, what does it mean?
Yeah, the effect that it has,
exactly,
on the other Mabuto. But also, I'm sure as we're watching this, colleague, one familiar face that's not there because he has passed away, the former AmaZulu Regiment's leader, the late Mgili Jantleko. I mean, he played quite a significant role, even with the planting of the king, unfortunately passing on last year. And that also, made headways because of the significance and presence that he had as the former leader of Amabuto.
Yes, Umkili chose the hoko. Unfortunately, he's no more. I'm sure if he was still alive, definitely he would be there leading Amabuto. I can see our colleague there standing by, Siphamandla. I think he's waiting for signal that we go back to him.
Absolutely. As soon as I get that signal, of course, from the team that he's ready, his sound is connected, then we'll definitely be going back to Siphamandla Goge out in KwaNongoma. Standing by to take us through, of course, any latest developments and updates that are happening there. The Indombi as well, still singing. I mean, we're talking about the issue of time and that the events were expected to begin at 11. But listen, if there's also another group that's been enjoying itself in singing and dancing, showing commitment, it has to be the Maidens. They haven't let up. They have been on it since the early hours of this morning, having such a good time witnessing this. I suppose it's also young women. This has significance for them witnessing, the entering of the kraal of King Misuzulu.
Yes, I suppose many of them are the ones who will go to the red dance there. I can see them wearing colorful regalias. They are an important part of AmaZulu Nation, because AmaZulu Nation pride itself with these maidens. You can see that they're not worried about time, they're just enjoying themselves. I wish I had their energy. I mean, I've seen them gita and just string their legs in energy. So let's go back to our colleagues. Siphamandla Goge, you're out there with them, the singing, enjoying the festivities. What can you share with us, colleague?
Indeed, that singing and dancing will continue throughout the rest of the day. Let me tell you that there is a very interesting sound and melody here of Itilongo, and they are singing. I'm going to ask this gentleman, ukuthi khali impempe khali Itilongo madoda. Awulufuthe mntaka baba silizwe leli Itilongo lakho, because there is a lot happening here at the palace. I know Mabuto Ngcobo is unpacking the significance of Itilongo and impempe. Usuku olukhulu namhlanje ake ngikhulume nani nje njengamaZulu insizwa ekhona la, kusho ukuthini ukuba khona la namhlanje njengoba inkosi ingene esibayeni, isizwe esiphumile sonke, intombi, omama, ibutho, bonke abantu bala, kubaleke ngani namhlanje?
Angibonga ithuba kithi njengoZulu, lolu suku lisho indumezulu kithi, kwazise esikhathini esiphambilini inkosi ebuzile uMdlokombane kwakukhona abazali bethu mhla kwenzeka kanjena namhlanje sibonela ngawe ethamehlo inkosi esesihlalweni isilo sethu uMisuzulu kaZwelithini namhlanje ebekwa njengenkosi yethu siyayiqhenya singama South Africans siyayiqhenya singamaZulu sithi phambili ngesizwe sakwaZulu phambili.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Well, those are some of the people who are here. Let us just give you more of Izintombi, the maidens singing here. There is another group that is coming from the other side, entering the palace, Nabenkos. Basically, you'll be getting more and more of this singing and dancing. It's, you know, a hive of activities here at Wakangela Mankengane Royal Palace. It's a very busy day, it's a very important day, and it talks about the issue of the nation, even though with disputes and divisions within the Zulu royal family, but it talks about the issue of a nation that is here to celebrate their history, their culture and heritage, and to embrace their king who's on the throne, even though there are attempts right now as we speak at the Pietermaritzburg High Court in KwaZulu-Natal of those who are trying to interdict today's ceremony. But it is going ahead as we speak. There is no court order for now, as I understand that for now the matter is still being heard. But for us, it's just to bring it to you live and direct. We'll update you on the developments and the court outcome. But listen to the song and dance, Ushona Pogandaba by the maidens. The mood is the mood of a celebration. On the other side is Ntombi singing and dancing. On the other side of the palace is Amabutho doing their thing as well, singing and dancing. It's a beautiful cultural display at Wakangela Mankengane Royal Palace. People here to celebrate with King Misuzulu Sinqobile Hlomesa Kisihlangu kaZwelithini, AmaZulu King, who has already entered the crown here. I want my colleague Joe Komane to turn around. More visuals of this song and dance that is underway with Amabutho here doing their display as well here in phases. They are, you know, singing and dancing and allowing Izintombi to do the same. Why is this important? It's simply because a nation comprises of, you know, not only Amabutho. Amabutho are the protectors, but you've got Intombi, the maidens, you've got Omama, and you also have Amabutho. Let's go to the other side and show you what is happening. So all components of AmaZulu nation are here to pay homage to their king. You see how security has been heightened up and beefed up around Wakangela Mankengane. Look at that police helicopter circling around the palace. I've never seen so many police officers. I've covered royal ceremonies, but I've never seen such a huge turnout of Amapoisa, you know, being deployed to ensure that everyone who is here is safe. But let's just take a walk and see this song and dance that is going on the other side. Excuse me, my brother, can you just pace through here? And this is the other group that is here performing traditional song and dance. And it's not only AmaZulu who are celebrating today. Other nations have joined in as well in this celebration. So this is what is happening at Wakangela Mankengane Royal Palace today. Indeed, as that song and dance continues here, I've spotted an interesting character here. Umeyu Chris Papas from Umgeni. Baba, unjani? Uyaphila? Alright, kamba kahle. Ngiyabona ngiyajabula ukubona ngiyakubona uvunile. Inkinga bengeke kusebenzekile kahle kodwa ngoba wena uvunule.
Hayi no, sijabula lana namhlanje baba.
Usuku olukhulu, what does it mean to AmaZulu but to Africans? Of course, you are not umZulu but you are here embracing this for social cohesion and African unity. What does it mean for the people of KwaZulu-Natal?
I think this is a historic moment for young people like myself.
Asikhulume ngesiZulu nje yazi. Asishaye ngesiZulu. Umlungu nje afana khuluma isiZulu.
Ubuza ngesingisi nawe ngithi.
Asishaye ngesiZulu.
Cha, usuku olukhulu kakhulu baba for izwe yamaZulu but also province yaKwaZulu-Natal, South Africa iyonke. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity lento sikuyona namhlanje njengabantu abasha futhi siyajabula ukubona isilo esihange esingenayo nethemba elikhulu for indlunkulu njengomasipala wasemngeni nathi futhi sifuna ukusho ukuthi i-support noma iqhaza sifuna ukulibamba ukusupport indlunkulu ikhona and sifuna ukuqinisekisa ukuthi lelo qhaza siyalibamba. But for izwe lakwaZulu sisonke black white colored amandiya usuku olukhulu umlando lo usuwenzayo namhlanje size lana kuzohlonipha siyajabula ukuba khona.
Kuzomela nisebenzisane nesilo ukuthuthukisa abantu. Rural development in particular will be very key. The late AmaZulu King waye prioritize into ye rural development, education and health, and you are the mayor. The people that you lead as an elected representative are the subjects of the king. Ukusebenzisana phakathi kwamakhosi namakhansela kubaluleke ngani ukuthuthukisa isizwe?
Kakhulu baba kakhulu sonke sibamba iqhaza lapho esikhona noma u-traditional leader, elected leader, religious leader kunamaqhaza kubalulekile ukuthi lapho izikhundla sibambe khona sisebenzisana ngoba igcineni abantu esibaholayo yibona abagcindezelekayo uma singasebenzisana.
We've lost you there, Siphamandla Goge, and we apologize for that break-in transmission there. An important conversation, just talking about, the presence of, government officials coming through, not only there, but different nations coming to celebrate this historical day as we see the maidens also continuing with their singing and chanting out in KwaNongoma, and also Omama supporting and looking out for the maidens as they continue to sing. And also, Mabutu, I wondered if it's only the ANC and also, just the government that we'll see. Should we expect, different political parties as well together here today?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I saw the mayor of Olundi municipality, Chula Sizwe Buteles, if I'm not mistaken. I saw him there. I'm sure there'll be a couple of other people who are affiliated to political parties that we'll see there. Because remember, the other time we spoke about the numbers as the currency in politics. So every politician will want to be seen, to be associated with people with numbers, because numbers are very important in politics. I mean, we saw the other gentleman that Siphamandla spoke about. I believe is a mayor, DA mayor in one of the municipalities in KZN. I stand to be corrected. So I'm trying to answer your question. So right. I would likely to see more politicians or people who are affiliated to certain political parties coming in there to support the king. King Misuzulu.
Yeah, we know that also thousands expected to come and gather today, and as those visuals continue to be shown, we can see a member of the South African Police Service there trying to restore just a bit of order and channeling the maidens to work in a certain direction. Let's talk then about the presence of security here, because I mean thousands are expected, Mabuto, to come from different directions of the borders of the country, the continent, if not the world. So the role of security today, surely that's important.
Very important. It's very important for the police to be there, but also because there is this contestation that is unprecedented. There's been contestation before, but normally it will be between two. But now we've got two contenders. You've got Prince Buzabazi, you've got Princess Magate as well. So now you've got two more. So it's very important for police to be there to ensure the security is tight. yeah, they should be there, and it's very important. Remember also last week when there was this other ceremony by Princess Magate, we saw the police there. They were there outside there, ensuring that everything goes accordingly.
Yeah, and I think it's that you know, a change in times that you were talking about earlier on, that because we're living in modern democratic times where the Amabutho perhaps would be the ones making sure that they enforce security. Now in modern times we're seeing, of course, the men in blue doing that for them, but they are here ceremonially to just show support, to show loyalty, but to still show defense for their king, and as well as those young, beautiful, you know, girls. They're still continuing to dance alongside Omama, who are, of course, the monarchs, just showing that nature, or rather the matriarch is the term I'm looking for, the matriarchs that are there just to ensure that all goes according to plan. But I just wonder, just in terms of the other siblings and the role they're playing. Earlier on, we saw Princess Ntando out in front of, you know, the palace having conversations. Siphamandla showing us visuals. The other siblings that are here in support, what could they be doing right now in ensuring that this ceremony goes well today?
Their presence is more than enough, but you're asking a very important question. It will also be interesting to see if the other siblings from other palaces will also be there as well. That will be very interesting if indeed they will be there, but it remains to be seen. One might argue that probably maybe not, and also the wives of the late King, King Zwelithini, if they will be there as well. It will be interesting as well to see if they will be there, but we'll see, because it's still early. Time will tell.
Indeed. I mean, that is indeed the unity that Mrs. Zulu had been speaking about earlier on in the early days, just after the planting of the king, after you know, the reading of the will was conducted, when all these court cases had been pursued. He constantly, I remember, saying, you know, that he, you know, appeals for peace, for unity amongst family members, so that, you know, the royal family can continue doing the work that it's meant to do for its people, that is the Zulu nation. And as we continue to seeing, you know, those visuals of the maidens singing, that you know, picture of King Misuzulu being carried there, we're still expecting him to make his way. Quite an important, significant, you know, point, I suppose, before, as you mentioned, Mabuto, then President Cyril Ramaphosa will be handing over then that certificate to him. He's already recognized him as the king, to the dismay of other princesses who are sort of like challenging that they are the rightful heirs, but that's the one particular you know, significant sort of image that we're waiting to see. I want to take it back to the kraal now, where of course we understand the pledging of Mrs. Zulu to the ancestors is important. And just give us a picture, perhaps a glimpse, because it's a very sacred time that not the public can be privy to witnessing. It's very, very just I think confidential, sacred to the royal family, to the king. But when he's presented and pledged to the ancestors, what does that mean? What usually happens there?
Yeah, it's very important. I must also make a disclaimer. I'm a historian. I'm not a cultural expert, but it's very important for the king to be reporting to the departed ones, to the ancestors, to say now there is a king that is going to take over after the late king, King Zwelithini Goge. So it's very important. But as our reporter has said, that has been done overnight. So it remains to be seen. Especially, I'm interested in this agent court application in the High Court in Pietermaritzburg. What would be the outcome, considering that, according to our reporter, most of these things have already been done.
Right.
So it will be interesting in that what will be the outcome of the court ruling. Because it's underway, I believe, in the High Court in Pietermaritzburg. Yeah,
it is, and we'll sure be updating you at home about what the final outcome would be, what's exactly happening at Pietermaritzburg. This all the while, Siphamandla Goge is still in KwaNongoma, and he joins us back now. Colleague, from where you stand, just give us those visuals as you see them, because you are there in person. You're seeing beyond what we're seeing through the lens.
Indeed, it's a very historic day. We see beautiful visuals here, well choreographed, well coordinated in terms of how this song and dance is performed. Today is only about celebrating AmaZulu King, Misuzulu Kazwelithini, whose family on the throne, as you see here, Prince Thulani also outside here. We are awaiting the arrival of Isilo, King Misuzulu Kazwelithini. Prince Thulani is asking people to go to the tent. And let me just see if we'll be able to get some word with Prince Thulani here, who speaks for AmaZulu Royal House. Mntwana siyakhuleka ninjani ndaba? Usuku olukhulu namhlanje isizwe sikhona isizwe sikaZulu. Talk to us about how the process will unfold from now on till the king gets into the kraal and receive lewo messages nezelokoto.
We never expected such number of people. Now the pandemonium and the disturbance, everything that has happened, we never expected, because we anticipated about 5,000 people. But as it is now, you can see the traffic in the road. People cannot move. Even the dignitaries, the people who are supposed to be here before the function starts, are not yet, because the roads are packed. So we are trying our best to make sure that everything starts. But although it's not going to be as we planned, we're waiting for the king to come now, and then we go to the kraal. There are some rituals. We did most of the rituals yesterday, last night, but there is something that must be done today before we all move to the marquees there. That's where the Amabuto and the Omama Bespiti and the Zimbalize Sizwe will be performing. So they will start with the parade. So after the parade, then we will open with a prayer, we'll introduce the guests, and then there will be remarks of congratulations. It says, then there are no speech today, just remarks of congratulations from the senior princes, from the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, and from the kings, because there is a king from Zambia, there is a king from Malawi. So those people will also congratulate the king, and then we will close. That's all.
I have covered royal ceremonies before, but I've never seen so many people and the heightened security here and police. Talk to us about those logistics.
I can tell you why it's like this. It's because of the wars, infights that are happening in the family. Now people are proving the point that although some people claim to be something, but today the king that is going to be coronated, the king that is being installed, I think the people are just showing that this is the real king of the Zulu nation.